know.
Well, it's too late.
One of those? I don't think so. Is everybody in the shot? Can everybody see themselves?
Everybody's in a shot.
I think I'm in the shot.
I can't see myself.
I can't see
This is you
anything.
right here.
Put your glasses on.
Don't put the camera on.
I love you. Am I in the shot now?
Welcome. Go for it. Oh, I was
The intro!
Welcome to the intro.
We're here.
Bracket night.
Quarantine ain't got us down.
Special guest tonight, we have Boston Roberts! Yay!
You're so.
Also, we didn't discuss the tiebreaker. How are we gonna do that?
Discuss the tiebreaker.
Oh,
Because
that's
there's 3 and
true.
3.
Oh.
Sam's gonna have to weigh in. We're phoning a
Bring out
friend.
the
We're gonna
extra
fight.
guest.
You're just gonna yell,
Locked in the back room.
hey, what do you
enough,
think?
yeah, we're gonna do that, or we're gonna do rock, paper, scissors. I didn't know.
I think we should have Sam do it.
We'll have Sam do it. Special guest appearance if
You wanna
necessary.
ask Sam if she...
Nope, I'm gonna just.
We're
She probably
trying.
hears us. I think
Alright.
I heard her laughing.
Hope so. That or it's tears. She's like mentally prepping herself.
She doesn't have to be on camera, she just has to yell through the door.
This is
The man behind the curtain will answer.
Alright.
1, 2, 3, and 4. Count what you have now. Don't count what you don't have.
Alright, so tonight's bracket night category is what?
Movies. Genre.
Types of
Movie
movies,
genres. And this is going to be our definitions of movie genres. So
Gonna do our best out here.
yeah, we're going to do our best out here.
Don't hate us too much.
We have a large personal collection. And some
As you
of
can
these we
see,
looked up. Yeah,
we brought all of them.
We've got 12 movies here. Is our whole personal collection. 1 VHS tape.
Oh yeah, what is that even? I mean, oh okay, I was like, what VHS tape do we drag out?
I could have done more.
You could have put Aladdin. You didn't even put a G rated. Oh, up. Okay.
Should we read the all 16 categories, or you just want to start the bracket with one versus?
Well,
I mean, I
it's
think
gonna pop
we've
up on the screen.
normally been
Take
doing
a
that.
picture.
Oh, it's going to be on screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're right there.
Put it
Okay.
in, and then we can go on from here. So.
Make a note.
There's part of the next 7 minutes of dad
I
pauses.
stopped it there so we could do it on purpose. See?
Boston's gonna edit out all your pauses anyway.
I know.
Thanks, Boston.
Thanks, Boston.
I loved it because I was listening, but also watching, and everyone's like, yeah. Oh yeah. Like just like little robot people while he's talking. It's pretty good. It was good times. I liked it.
Okay, so our first bracket is going to be between rom-coms, romantic comedies, or as Jacob coined the phrase in our
Sucky romance movies.
that's what it's called in our household, or holiday movies.
There was some discussion before what a holiday movie consists of. Like Quentin says Independence Day because that's the 4th of
Independence Day,
July.
4th of
It counts as
July.
a holiday movie.
Yep.
Any Halloween movies are technically in horror, but it is a holiday movie.
Die
They're
Hard
specifically
is a
for
Christmas
Halloween.
movie. Takes
We all
place
know
on
that.
Christmas Eve.
I'm against that, by the way. Everybody else says it is. I'm against it being Christmas movie.
But you're fine with the other way?
Yeah, and also the Easter Carol, the Veggie Tales. We just watched
Yeah.
that of Easter. Easter happened last Sunday. 2 weeks, 3, 4, 5 weeks. 5 weeks from
No.
right now is when you'll see this. So 5 weeks ago we had
At least you know the
Easter.
date of the reference.
Wow.
But yeah, so those are what counts as holiday movies. It's something you would watch during a holiday time.
I
Or
would
it's
argue
set
otherwise.
in.
Die Hard.
So a Christmas Vacation, like the Chevy Chase movies, that's holiday movies.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
National
celebrating.
Lampoon's
National
Christmas
Lampoon's
movies.
Vacation.
He's going on vacation during Christmas.
Yeah.
It's a holiday.
All
They
right.
actually don't. They stay at
And
home.
references
You've seen it
for
100 times.
rom-coms would be what? The
Romantic-
number one, Harry Met Sally, apparently is the number one romantic
P.S.
comedy
I Love
ever.
You. That's a romantic comedy.
51st Dates,
Yeah,
Failure to Launch.
that's a good one. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Yeah, lots of.
We
great
watched
ones.
one of the
Rowan Atkinson, Mr. Bean,
Do you know
holiday,
what
is
that
that?
one was?
That's not a romantic comedy, no.
Okay.
I don't know. It's kind of looker.
3 years ago.
Arguably the worst looking president on TV.
Okay, so rom-coms and holiday movies. So I hate that these two are up against each other personally.
I know, this is a pretty easy one.
I was like, this is
Simple.
done.
These
Simple.
are two of my favorite categories. I watch holiday Christmas movies every year.
Every
I have
year.
I have like 20 of them. I love them. But romantic comedies are totally my go-to. just if they're fun, they're sweet, they make you cry, they make you laugh. I mean, Hitch.
I don't know about that.
Everybody at this table enjoys the movie Hitch.
Yeah, Hitch was a good movie because Will Smith's in it.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with the plot. I just like Will Smith as an
Has nothing to do with the plot. Hated the plot.
Kevin Smith or what's his name?
Kevin James.
Kevin James also.
Yeah.
He's also pretty funny too.
Q-tip.
Two comedians.
Q-tip.
That's why.
Throw it away.
Yeah.
Classic. Classic.
The white guy shuffle.
No,
That's in there too.
Personally, like the Benadryl with the straw in it.
Yeah.
That is
His
also
face is
good.
inflated. That's a good one.
The plot doesn't matter.
But again, that's all the comedy portion. There's nothing to do with the romantic part at all. that's not why I go and watch them. So it works well for both audiences. That people that like comedy can watch for the comedy, and
He
people that like
goes and
romantic
shows
take stuff
the
and
book
there.
at Ellis Island. It's their ancestors, the axe murderer.
Yeah. Classic.
Great.
So see, we all enjoy
There's
it.
gems, of course.
I
but
enjoy the comedy half of it. It's a thing.
Not the same. Holiday movies are just they're timeless classics. You can watch How the Grinch Stole Christmas every Christmas for the rest of your life.
I don't
It's
know
still
about that.
just as
But you
good.
couldn't watch it any
It's still
day.
enjoyable.
Like you couldn't watch it any day.
Not
I
necessarily.
don't think I'd watch a rom-com on Christmas either, though. It's the thing. I wouldn't watch a Christmas movie on,
But there's
4th of July.
364 other days.
Yeah, they're all
to watch rom-com.
situational for holiday movies. That's why I like them
Yeah.
more. Is because it's like you only watch them one time a year because it just hits different. Whereas if
I like
you
to get
watch
my
it
money's worth.
whenever.
Yeah.
I'm paying $8 for a movie.
I'll
Could've
watch
watched
it
it.
in December every day. I don't know what to tell you. So personally, I'm for holiday movies because
Start
I prefer
Thanksgiving.
those. But
Right.
So you're for holiday movies.
yes, over rom-com.
Okay. Other pros, cons?
I think it's pretty straightforward. I know where I'm voting. Not holidays.
Okay.
Holidays, you're voting
Because you
wrong.
are against Christmas movies.
I am against
Right,
Christmas
and
movies.
Christmas music.
And Christmas music and Easter movies and Easter music.
Basically,
Basically,
What
if it's not
Easter song
Halloween,
have you heard?
garbage.
What Easter music?
Any
do
song that you
listen
sing
to?
on Sunday is an Easter song.
hymns, basically.
Up for the great heroes.
Real rugged
Swing
cross.
Low, Sweet Chariot. All timeless classics.
Timeless.
Okay, so you're going holiday.
Yes, he loves me.
Why would I vote for holiday?
You're going rom.
You're going holiday.
Quit trying to get people to vote the way you want them to.
Okay.
Put up a
Okay,
Rona
yes.
display.
You're right.
I was gonna say I am gonna go
Oh my
for
God.
romantic comedies. They're my
Yeah.
go-to. Yeah.
Boston, what are you doing?
Romantic comedies.
Romantic
Nice.
comedies?
30 for the
As
rom-com.
As little as I like rom-coms, I'm gonna have to go with them because
What?
Mm.
I don't like holiday movies that much.
Yeah.
Like Rachel, I really only like Halloween.
It's the only holiday that matters.
I'll watch them, but
Spoopy
other than
time.
that,
That's
I
right.
think I'm agreeing with the rom-com, just for
Wow.
Boston's situation of, and your mom watches holiday movies non-stop from Thanksgiving to Christmas and
The
beyond.
only time you
Just
allow
so
me to watch it.
That's not
Because
come
no
on.
one likes them.
They're not bad movies, but we only have 12 and there's like 40 days, so we watch them over and over again.
just watch like every 2-3 weeks, and then you have them spaced out correctly.
All right, so this next one is also a rough bracket here. Comedies, for
Regular
example,
comedies.
such as what would be a comedy movie?
Good old
Caddyshack.
Dinosaurs.
Uh-huh.
That was a good movie.
Dinosaurs is a comedy.
I think that's a G-rated film.
But it's also a comedy. I thought it was pretty funny.
You were 7. It's not hard.
That was pretty funny.
Comedies are up against cult classics.
I would say
The good ones.
All of the comedies that I'm thinking of, I would also categorize as called classics.
Well, cult classics are hilarious, and they
Yeah.
touch the heartstrings, and that's why they live on forever, and that's why they're gonna win this bracket.
like Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah. Or Juno. Or
Juno's a
Goonies.
cult classic.
The
Yeah.
Princess Bride.
Princess
Princess
Bride. Duh. The
Bryce
best
Dallas.
movie ever made.
So I Married an Axe Murderer.
It's a good story on that one.
Did you watch it finally?
No, I have not watched it.
You gotta watch
I'm
it.
into it.
Tucker and Dale versus Evil. That's a good
That was
one.
pretty
What?
fun.
I don't know, like, cause like comedy, I feel like, cause like you got rom-com, it's romantic, but it's also comedy. Comedy like bleeds into so many
I
other
think
things.
comedy's like Madagascar, but that's also a G-rated movie.
But that's also
I
animated
love
movies.
Yeah.
So like that's what I was thinking, like Hoodwinked and that kind of stuff. So it's like hard to,
Comedy kind of goes through everything.
yeah. Cause
I
was
mean,
thinking,
comedy is more of like your hour and a half set of comedians. It's kind of
You're talking about
going-
Julio
So, like, stand-up?
Comedy.
But stand-up's pretty good too,
Fluffy.
though. Yeah.
Gabriel.
Gabriel, not Julio.
Gabriel Iglesias.
Yeah.
Chris D'Elia is pretty funny.
But-
I'm watching a lot of
What's
him.
your comedy
I don't know.
there?
I
Comedies.
don't know. I would categorize a lot as comedy. Like John Hancock with Will Smith. I would consider that a part of a comedy movie,
Yeah.
even though it probably falls more into action adventure
Sounds like
because it's fun and it's superhero.
Also,
It's
why
just
do we
'cause it's
all
funny.
like
Top
a lot of movies
100.
that Will Smith?
Will Smith, man.
Obviously, Will Smith's good at everything. He's like Tom Hanks, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I was just thinking like, oh,
Was
I'm
Castaway?
Legend, but
Is that a comedy? I never watched it.
Anybody know what the
That's
number
more
one
of drama
on Rotten Tomatoes is?
for comedies.
Yeah, it's not the
I don't
top
know.
rating. It's just what they have number one. Toy Story 4.
But then Modern Times has 100%, and Toy Story 4 has
Modern
97%.
Times is a comedy.
See,
The Black Klansman. Booksmart. The Farewell.
Booksmart was
One
pretty
Night.
funny.
You might
I
like
did
it.
watch
8th
that.
grade. Coco.
I think probably like the American Pie series
Singing in
are
the
probably
Rain.
just
Yeah.
pure
those are
comedies.
cult
But
classics.
they're also
though.
cult classics.
Scary Movie is also
Scary
cult
Movie.
classic.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I mean,
it's hard to
in the
find.
category of comedy.
Okay.
I'm definitely leaning more.
Once Upon a
towards
Time in
cult
Hollywood
classics.
is a comedy.
Dude, that's what it says. I don't know.
What I saw it was
Tarantino
not.
films.
I think you
so-
can find comedy in every movie.
Exactly.
So I
that's
think
the
it's a
thing.
hard one to define, but I think cult classics they're just more fun
They
to
got
watch.
classic right in the name.
And you watch them all the time. They're so
100
good.
Yeah.
best cult classics.
But cult classics also indicate that it's a smaller audience.
Yeah.
Galaxina,
It's-
Cave
so-
Girl, Weekend Pass, Jocks, Hunks.
Sleeper movies that, like for instance, Princess Bride is a quintessential cult classic because it was not popular when it came out.
Right.
When it hit the
Right.
movie theaters, it was not a smashing success. It wasn't until years later that people were like, "Ah, that was a fun movie, that was really cute," and then it became this thing that everybody quotes, and
Huge thing.
yeah. And so cult classics are kind of like that. They have a following, and you'll find people who are like,
Fun fact: the guy who's doing the wedding in Princess Bride, he's in the newest Jumanji movie. He's like the assistant to the main bad guy,
nice,
and I was
The
like,
assistant to the bad guy.
what? So,
nice.
but
Yeah,
So
cult
the same
classics
side
tend to
version
be
of it.
movies that you've probably never heard of unless you watched it, like Creeper or Craze or Country Blue or Embryo.
it's a lot of like one word
Firing
names.
Line, Galaxina.
That might be a
That sounds like
little
indie.
more.
Yeah, that's indie.
Because I'm thinking of like
cult classics.
Juno. I
Yeah.
feel
You've
like
either seen it and loved it, never heard of it in your whole life, or you watched it once and thought it was dumb.
Yeah.
Napoleon Dynamite, Nacho
Nacho
Libre.
Libre.
Dumb and Dumber's probably a comedy. So it's pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yes, Dumb and Dumber.
Dumb and Dumber.
Anything by Adam Sandler is a comedy.
Yes.
He does rom-com a lot too.
Right, yeah.
Happy Gilmore would be a good.
Yeah.
Big Daddy.
Happy Gilmore, yeah.
So,
I still feel like
Those,
My
those
vote's
are some
going
good
towards-
definitions.
All right,
cult classics.
Your vote's going to what?
cult classics. She
classics.
said.
Cult classics.
Cult classics as well. I agree.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
comedies, you can find comedy in anything, so you're not specifically looking for. I just want to watch comedy. I don't want anything else in there. Just jokes.
And
You're-
cult
then you're just gonna
classics-
go to a set of somebody saying jokes. You're not
Yeah.
even gonna look for a movie specifically for
And
it.
I feel like cult classics too, they're a feel good, like I've had a rough day and I just want to watch something that I know I'm going to enjoy, so you pick one of those.
Yeah.
I think it also has to be rewatchable to be a cult classic.
Yeah.
It's something that you've seen multiple times.
that, and you're like, I could watch this again right after you finish it.
All right, what do you guys think? You guys, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go with cult classics.
Yeah.
I was gonna go with cult classics too. Sorry, Josh.
No, I'm trying to think of something that's just comedy, like Monty Python is probably just a straight.
it's almost
funny
a cult
movie, but
classic.
It's almost
Yeah.
a cult classic too. And so yeah, that's
The thing.
that's a hard
Comedy's hard to
By our
separate out.
definition.
by our definition, which is the only one that matters right now.
Okay, so the next step will be action adventure
Such as
goes against big brain.
Which I don't know what that is.
Define big brain.
Big Brain.
Big brain.
What's
Big
a
brain.
big brain
Big
movie?
Brain genre.
Big
What?
brain has to do with it makes you think, or it's something that you weren't expecting at the end. There's a large twist.
So
You're like,
Rick and
wow,
Morty.
that is pretty crazy.
Rick and Morty.
Yeah,
Rick and Morty is not Big
it's
Brain.
a TV show, unfortunately, but yes, if it was in a movie format, it would be Big Brain. The Big Brain, looking at like The Martian or Interstellar or A Beautiful Mind, which is more again called classic, but it's something where it's like you think one thing's going on the whole time, but if you're paying attention while you're watching it, something else is actually happening.
So,
And
kind
when
of
the
like
twist
the
hits,
Ocean's movies,
you can-
or
Ocean's
Or
kind
Fight
of,
Club
but
or something
they
like that.
actually don't show
Yeah,
you.
Fight Club would probably be a big brain movie.
The Fight Club would, yes. But Oceans, they don't show you, they don't give you what actually happens. They show you one thing, and at the end, they
Show you
this
something
is what
completely
happened.
different.
And then Now You See Me's kind of like that. You can kind of defer what's happening, but they don't like give you hints until the end, and then they reveal the whole thing. It's actually completely different than what you watched.
So it's something
But
that
actually
like
happened.
they just do. It, you think it's one movie, and then at the very end,
Like
they
Sixth
just
Sense is
circumvent
probably the
entire
easiest
movie.
one. Spoilers for Sixth Sense. If you
It came out like 20 years ago.
If you're a ghost, you see red objects, and you
Yeah.
can talk to other people. And he thinks he's talking to a kid that can see dead people, but he's like a guy that can talk to ghosts or whatever, what he thinks he is. But if you're watching the movie closely, nobody ever interacts with him, Bruce Willis, and nobody knows he's there. And then slowly over time, you find out he's actually a ghost, and the kid's talking to him and trying to understand why he can see ghosts. So something like that, where you can watch the whole movie and you're getting one story, but then at the end, they tell you, no, he's actually a ghost, and this is why he's a ghost. You could have seen it the entire time.
Mhm.
And that was one of the first movies that I figured out before the twist actually happened.
See, it's not that you can see red. It's red is things they can interact with.
Red is around when ghosts are present.
Right.
Same thing as
But
the
it's like
cold
things
red.
they can interact with. So
That's
So that's
what
what big brain.
thinks too much. Like,
Right.
I don't want to have to do that, but I'm like,
you don't want to have to figure a movie out.
yeah.
Well, that's my favorite thing about movies. That's what I love
I
about
agree,
movies.
Boston. I do like
But I don't want to
M. Night Shyamalan is notorious
Big brain.
for making those kind
Big
of
brain
movies.
thrillers.
Yeah.
Kind of both, but
Inception.
They're good.
Isn't it?
Inception's another one.
Yeah.
Really
Big
good.
brain.
They're
The
good,
Village,
but like
a little
it's
bit.
Yeah.
it's a lot. It's like if I just want to sit and watch a movie, I don't want to figure a movie out.
Yeah, you're invested.
Or like
in
any
that
like kind of
one.
mystery
Stuck.
movies
You're
might be
invested.
a big brain movie.
It's not relaxing to watch.
So
those
then the
movies.
opposite of having to figure a movie out would definitely be action adventure. It's pretty
Which is what I'm talking
straightforward.
about.
Which
Guys
is-
fighting, blowing stuff up, some good old car chases and some gunfights.
That's
Like the
your
Italian Job.
Italian
Oh,
Job.
yeah.
It's
That's
your,
kind of a.
Big
There
brain.
was some. Yeah, but they also didn't. They didn't show.
It's a
you-
heist movie, but they
didn't
don't
figure-
show you.
Yeah,
what's
they
going
just
on.
at the end.
So you could
told
think
you
of
how
it
they did it, yeah.
mainly as heist movies, or even going more towards kids side. Like you got the robots movie where it's kind of like you're running around just doing stuff the entire time.
Right.
Stuff's always
Pineapple
happening.
Express.
Or
is an
Transformers in
action and
general.
adventure.
Their whole series, that's their whole
Have you
thing.
seen
It's
Pineapple
explosions. That's
It's
what
probably
it is.
just straight comedy. but
Yeah, or cult classic maybe.
True.
Gone in 60 Seconds would be
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
action adventure.
Catch Me If You Can.
Fast and
Catch Me If You
Furious
Can.
is.
Fast and
You could
Furious.
watch Fast and Furious.
I've never watched any of
No.
them.
There's like
Never
9 of them,
seen it.
you
Yeah.
know? Like, obviously there's.
And then now they have like
It's literally just car
extended
chases.
universe movies.
It's what?
Extended universe movies.
Extended
they have
universe?
they have from the makers of Fast and Furious. It's not Calvin
Great.
Hobbes.
That's a whole.
Calvin and Hobbes steal a power wheel.
It's Hobbs and Shaw. Two characters from the Fast and Furious universe. That
With
I like
Idris
Calvin
Idris
Hobbes
Elba's the
better.
villain in that one, right?
yes, he is a black Superman,
Yeah.
as a quote from the movie. He's a black Superman.
Yeah.
But
Okay, so action adventure.
I'm
big
going
brain.
action adventure. That's my vote.
Action adventure.
I'm with Big Brain because Big Brain it's fun. I
I'm-
enjoy it.
I'm
That's
Big
what I
Brain.
enjoy.
I'm big brain too.
But-
I really enjoy that thought provoking.
Big
I
brain.
enjoy
Somebody make it a
action
tiebreaker?
adventure, but big brain
That's-
is fun. Is this the first one?
3 big brain, 2 action adventure, 1 undecided.
I think I'm gonna go with action adventure.
Yes!
Because I do enjoy those, and I don't like to think a whole lot while I watch a movie. It's like I don't like to figure it out. It's like I just want to watch it, see the ending, and be like, now I can go back and watch with a new appreciation.
I usually have
Instead
to
of
watch
figuring
Big Brain movies like 3 times, and
Yeah.
I'm like, that really? I gotta watch this again.
Because
So-
you did not get that at all.
So we need
No,
a tiebreaker now, right?
Yeah,
Yep,
we're
so
ready
it's
to tiebreaker.
tiebreaker time.
The woman behind the curtain.
Sam!
Hey, you ready to be
Well, that's a-
tiebreaker? You don't have to. be
Easy
tiebreaker.
question.
You gotta say it loud enough so the camera can
It's
hear you,
action
though.
adventure movies or Big Brain movies.
God.
Do you understand what we mean by both?
No.
Okay.
Big brain, like Sixth Sense or Interstellar or Beautiful Mind, you gotta think about it. You gotta work for it.
Okay.
Action adventure,
Guns,
Doing
car
stuff.
races,
Shoot 'em up,
explosions.
blow 'em up.
Gone in 60 seconds.
Transformers.
I
Anything
guess
directed by
movies.
Big
Big
brain!
Brain.
Yay!
Good job, Sam.
Get back in there. Think about
back
your
on.
answer next time.
Got it.
That was bogus.
Next,
That's bogus, he said.
we've got the old G-rated for kids section, and then superhero movies.
Backwards
Dinosaurs.
all lined up kind of together.
Now,
like
can I expand G-rated to mean like
Sure.
anything that's more family-oriented
Yeah.
or towards kids? So it doesn't have to necessarily have
I think like
G-rated.
because I think
but-
Toy Story is a PG movie.
So you're talking pretty much anything Disney Pixar.
Kind of, yeah.
anything for
Anything you'd be like,
Suitable
oh, this
for
would be
kids.
great for my child.
Paw Patrol.
Pika, pika, pika.
I'm sure they have a
I'm
movie.
pretty sure Bubble Guppy has a movie or two.
all right. So
Fitz and Ferb.
G-rated or superheroes? Superhero movies.
Look, you're looking at the MCU, just in general, Marvel and their whole thing with
Yeah.
Disney. They've been running the whole superhero thing. I mean, DC's okay, and it's got their flaws and whatever, but they're still big blockbuster movies. They make millions. They have a lot of following behind them at theaters.
Mhm.
Whereas G-rated are kind of like they're for kids. Obviously, that's a really large audience, and you can make a lot of money
They
if you
do.
market it right.
Make a ton of money.
But I feel like superheroes just have more lasting. Now, I mean, you go back 10, 15 years, superhero movies sucked. You had Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, and that was really about it. The superhero movies were meh. And so, way back when, yeah, superhero movies kind of sucked. But I think recently they finally figured out the formula, and I think it's just a better experience. I mean, kids can still watch superhero movies, but the adults can also watch it and get a completely different experience out of it. Whereas G-rating is more of like, the adults just get, here's an adult humor joke that kids wouldn't understand. That's really all they get from that movie. So you only get one audience where superhero can get everybody in there at the same time.
It's like Hotel Transylvania. That was a movie
Yeah, that's one of
filled
the
with adult jokes.
few exceptions.
That was a
to
good
That's
movie.
why
That
I
was
like
so
it.
good.
Like, there's,
Charming.
I guess, you don't have to be a kid to watch G-rated stuff.
That's my thing. I like kids movies. Like, would I rather sit down and rewatch all the Marvel superhero movies, or would I rather sit down and watch a bunch of Disney movies? I would pick Disney movies every time. And
Yeah.
I mean, this one I definitely feel like it's personal preference. I just personally don't. I will watch the superhero movies, but they're not like, I'm never gonna be like, oh, we should watch Iron Man tonight.
Yeah. I don't know. I think G-rated and like kids movies are very good for like, they're very consumable. They're made to be very easily consumed, whereas superhero movies and that kind of stuff, it's like you kind of have to know the characters and know their backstories because they don't tell you everything in the movies, but they do stuff that if you knew, you know, the source
They
material.
do the deep cuts from the source material.
Right, and sometimes don't even like straight up reference it. It's just like they do something, but you know why they did it because of source material. Whereas kids movies, super consumable, easy to just binge a bunch of Disney movies because it's like it's all self-contained, wraps up and finishes in a movie. Whereas I feel a lot of superhero movies, it's almost they intentionally write it to
Sell the next movie.
sell the next movie, yeah, or sell more movies like it. So.
I would give props to the superhero movies for like the depth,
Right.
the character depth that they go to, the worlds that they create. I feel like you go to great lengths. However, in this specific thing that we're talking about, types of genres of movies, I had decided that my criteria for this one would be personal preference.
Yeah.
So, based on personal preference, I am a G-rated girl all the time because, as you guys know, the language gets to me in movies 9 times out of 10. I get tired of that. I get tired of negativity, or I get tired of deep or strong themes that make me sad. And I like Disney movies because it makes me feel like that there's good in the world again, I guess.
Yeah.
A lot of times children's movies do.
Yeah.
So, except for there are a few, like The Hunchback of Notre Dame, that is not a good movie for any child to be watching, in my opinion. That was just bad.
Yeah.
But so I'm gonna go with G-rated.
Personal preference, the family, children, G-rated movies. I'm not a comic book reader, never was, and I just never got into that, and I never. There's like 27 Marvel movies or something, and
Right now,
if
there's
you don't
26.
if you don't watch them all in a row and you miss out, and again, this goes to the big brain thing of it's too much thinking, man. Like I didn't read the comic books, I don't know the source material, I didn't watch the last movie. I've seen parts of a lot of those movies, but to just if you put the new action superhero movie against the new Pixar movie, I'm probably watching the new Pixar movie. And so, again, because they're
What if I
self-contained
told you
and ready to
that
go.
there's a superhero Pixar movie?
What?
There's 2 of them actually.
Well, then I'd probably be forced to watch it because it's, if that was my choice, superhero or Pixar, and they made one of each in the same movie, obviously. But
I'm gonna go with superhero because I love like the lore that's baked into those types of movies, just the source material and everything that you can know about it and that kind of stuff. So I'm voting superhero movies.
I've also found that about 3 or 4, Toy Story 4 is probably pushing the limit on what you can tell in a story.
Yeah, that was
You know.
too many.
The Godfather, there's 3 parts to it. That's perfect. Fast and Furious has 9. I haven't seen a single one of them. Probably never will watch it.
So
The
they have 9, I
Marvel
think they
Universe
have
has
other options.
26 movies.
Right now. But they're all different characters. You're
I
learning a
understand
different
they're
story
all
by each
different
character.
characters, but
It's just one universe that
it's
you're building.
crazy.
And that's why
Crazy.
it's good and better than everything else on this list, regardless of what everybody else is going to say.
Wow.
I think
Okay.
For
superhero
your
movies-
personal preference.
Yeah, they're
Right. And
gonna.
I mean, I'm not knocking that. That's incredible. I love world building. That's one of the things I like so much about Harry Potter is the world building of it. And I mean, I really appreciate that they've done this and created this universe for MCU. I just personally don't get into superheroes.
I think
So
you
it's
could
not
also, you can get a lot of these other genres from superhero movies.
Yes, you can.
There's a lot of dark humor, there's a
Yeah.
lot of horror, there's
Cult
a lot
classics.
of cult classic, there's a lot of lighthearted, there's a lot of just comedy,
Romance.
Deadpool,
Yeah.
there's a lot of romance. There's, and also they're coming out with more things that are just different types. There's a lot of sci-fi with Ant-Man, you go in the quantum realm. Just
Well, even Wakanda,
Guardians of the Galaxy,
you know.
you're going in outer space, you're literally
Yeah.
in science fiction.
Yeah.
So it pulls all of these different groups together into one big universe. That's
For
why I
sure.
think it's the best. And
So we
it's
got
really good.
3
Two
and 2.
for
I'm
two for superheroes. We're doing
I'm with you.
okay.
G-rated.
And your G rating.
G-rated.
Sorry guys.
Gross.
Just let it be known, superhero is just actually really good. And you shouldn't just not
Well,
watch
they
it.
make good movies. I mean,
Dinosaurs was
I
the
love
best
it.
G-rated movie ever.
Dude, that's a deep cut with the dinosaurs there.
All right. So next up is science fiction versus thrillers. So let's throw out some science fiction movies. What would fall under the science fiction according to us?
Probably Martian. Like, I mean, yeah, it's a big brain movie, but I think it's also
Star Wars.
So
Star
Star
Wars.
Wars,
Well, I think
Harry
The Martian's
Potter,
pulling
Star
from
Trek.
actual science. And I
Yeah.
think that's slightly different than science fiction, where they can just kind of make it up as they go, or say this is just a rule in our universe and run with it.
typically, a sci-fi movie takes place in space.
Right.
Right.
It plays on the
Traditionally.
idea. Of,
Traditionally.
Yeah, because
Space
I don't think I would
Meatballs.
put Harry Potter.
Remember Meatballs? That's a
No, Spaceballs.
Spaceballs, not Meatballs.
Space Jam.
Meatballs.
Let's
There is
see.
one called Meatballs,
That
but that's
was
in the 80s, and that was
Yeah.
one of those what are
Like
they,
Porky's Revenge,
yes,
slapstick type of, yeah.
comedies. So
Yeah, man.
yeah.
There's a lot of movies been made.
Or maybe it
like
was
that.
Meat
Star
Heads.
Trek and Star Wars are sci-fi.
yeah.
Those are probably two big name right now.
Yeah.
Probably the largest franchises.
Um,
for it.
What was that? We all watched it and it was terrible. It was that time hopping guy that went to all those different time periods and it was that really
Back to
long
the
movie.
Future?
Cloud Atlas.
Cloud Atlas.
Atlas.
Tom Hanks?
Not watch
Yes.
that.
That was
I
I've never
terrible.
watched
seen
it.
Cloud Atlas.
What about
I watched it twice because I had no idea what was going on.
So that was in
terrible.
the big brain, that's what you're saying.
It was
No,
Cloud, it
but
was
Big Brain
Tom-
actually makes sense. This one did not.
Tom Hanks and Halle Berry, I think.
Yeah, and it
Yeah, it
was
was two
awful.
big names.
Yeah.
And it was like, ugh. It was like 6 hours long and it didn't make any
6
sense.
hours.
It was like 2.5. It was forever.
You can also go towards Blade Runner and
Yeah. The
Ex
Matrix.
Machina, The
The
Matrix.
Matrix. would be
Which those kind of fill both the thriller and the sci-fi. They kind of do both
Yeah,
of those.
but thriller I definitely feel like is more horror light
Right.
is how I would describe thriller of like Hush or Would You Rather or
Silence of the Lambs.
Silence of the Lambs,
Is it
even maybe
Glass?
The Village a little bit.
Silent
Us, you know, I feel like Glass
Split.
would be
Whatever it's called.
in the sci-fi almost over the thriller.
Because they are
Yeah.
superhero,
I thought it was
right?
more of a superhero.
Unbreakable.
Mm. I mean, you
I'm
can
not
put
sure
it
what
in there,
those
but
are.
yeah,
I've only watched
thriller I
them.
definitely feel like is horror light.
Yeah.
Is the best
Sleeping
way
with
to
the
describe it.
Enemy is another one that I thought of a thriller. It's something that you said earlier, put you
Yeah.
on the edge of your seat.
Yeah.
Of that
It
you're like
Almost gives you a little bit of anxiety while you're watching it,
yeah.
but it's not. It's not cut 'em up bloody. Exactly gross.
A lot. Yeah.
I can't watch like horror movies, but thrillers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can watch.
Because horror, I definitely feel like when you decide you want to make a horror film, they're like, how many people can I chop up in disgusting ways? Which is how I feel like a horror film is.
I
I feel
can't
like
watch
they're
those at night in the dark by myself, but I can watch like thrillers like at night.
You know what I want
Yeah.
to do? I want to watch a terrifying movie at night in the dark by
That's the
myself
only time I can watch
with
movies.
unlocked doors. Let's just see what happens.
Let's
Yeah.
pick a movie. Disney, Pixar, or somebody killing somebody with a chainsaw. It's dark. I'm by myself. Let's watch a chainsaw movie. What the-
That's why you watch the Chainsaw movie and then you have a Chaser movie. Then you watch
Chaser movie?
See, but I think honestly,
Chaser
that,
movie.
like the movie scene is moving away from like horror chop 'em up movies and more because they're
That's
realizing
because
thrillers
They do
get
well.
more
They
people.
perform
They get really
well.
like you get a couple people with horror straight up murder.
Well,
movies,
and you
but-
can blend. I think they're getting better too. I haven't seen horror movies in a long time.
Ever.
Dad banned them when I watched the movie House because I told him I could handle it because I'd already read the book, so I knew it was going to happen. But then at 3:00 in the morning, I woke up. Well, I didn't wake up. I was just blood curdling, screaming.
I woke up.
And he woke up and he couldn't wake me up. And then after that point, I was banned. I can't
No
watch
more.
horror movies. So, anyway, but I
So
think
we know
that-
what she's not voting.
I'm not really sure, but I think that horror movies have learned how to go ahead and create that story and do the slasher things. You know, people like that blood and guts, cut people up, make people die, but give us a story to go along with it. So
Yeah.
so we have something to watch, not just
something to be invested in.
Right.
yes. So
Right.
Don't go in that garage!
you
Are you
idiot.
So
dumb?
another thriller movie would be I Am Legend. Then is probably the.
Yeah, it'd be,
Yeah, a little
I
bit.
think so.
Yeah, I'm
it'd
Legend.
be
A
right
Quiet
on the
Place.
edge.
That's a
Quiet
good-
Place would be on the edge, yeah.
That was
Those
very-
almost border on drama, thriller. They're not quite committed to being scary, but they've got
Mhm.
some jump scares. But
So
Okay.
basically, sci-fi. We're looking at something that has more maybe space-oriented
Space element,
or
very
a
technical
different
sometimes.
world.
Yeah.
Alien.
John Carter, for all
Yeah.
y'all have seen that.
Okay.
That's a good movie.
it's not a good movie. But
Yeah,
I've
I
seen
love
it.
it.
With Prey then kind of mixes both of those two, doesn't it?
What movie?
I've never seen
Prey and Predator and
Oh, like
those capture movies.
okay.
Yeah,
Alien versus Predator, that kind of stuff.
The
Alien.
Alien
Okay.
series, Alien Isolation.
yeah.
You know,
Those are a bit of those.
Schwarzenegger
Signs.
movie.
I would put it more towards
Sci-fi.
thriller.
Science would be more sci-fi, yeah.
I mean, personally, I love the horror, scary, thriller genre, so that's probably where I'm leaning more towards.
So you're saying thriller?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I lean more towards sci-fi. I love space and sciencey stuff and that kind of thing. So
I like learning sci-fi. You can learn about a universe and a space more than you can a thriller. And also, I'm just not a fan of thrillers or horror movies
The scary.
That's-
because they just aren't as good, in my opinion. They don't tell as much of a story, and they're more there to scare you. That's the point of
I
them.
think you're scared of them.
I'm not scared of them. It's just there isn't substance to them.
I like thrillers. I do those. So I would go towards those. I'm not really into the techie world or space world, so I go towards the thrillers. The thriller with a story. Like I love, like believe it or not, I really do like Silence of the Lambs. It scares the snot out of me every time I watch it. Especially the fact if you haven't seen it, sorry, you're dumb. Don't watch a movie bracket. If
idiot,
sorry,
stupid.
Hey, these are our viewers. We
Sorry.
need them.
But the point
They
is
slog
that
through Harry
don't
Potter
watch
books.
don't watch types of movies and then not expect to have spoiler alerts. Anyway, but Silence of the Lambs, the fact that Hannibal Lecter was still around at the end and called Clarice, that's just creepy. So anyway,
You don't like
I
it when they don't wrap it up.
Man inside the
Yes.
house, the coffin inside the house.
Yes.
Is that a horror or is that a thriller? How do we approach that? And then follow up of He's Still in the House. Is that what the second one was called?
What?
The second one- yeah, there was a follow up movie to that, but it was something
What
along the lines
movie?
of like the guy was still in the house. That was a stupid name. You never watched that? Never heard of that movie?
No, I don't.
Well, it's an old like 70s, 80s
Okay, that's
horror
why.
thriller movie where there's a call coming from inside the house. The phone keeps ringing. The lady's alone by herself. The guy's hiding inside of like the walls and inside of like he's underneath the sheets and stuff. It's really dumb, but he keeps calling and scaring her, and then I think he murders her at the end.
Okay. I thought like you were talking about like there's a thriller movie where she's deaf
No,
and there's a killer inside her
Yeah,
house.
it's called Hush.
That's that one. Okay, I wasn't sure if that was that one or not.
Okay, so what did you think?
Thrillers.
Thrillers.
Yeah.
So 3 for thrillers and 2 for sci-fi.
see, I like the Star Wars movies, but I have occasionally found some thrillers that I like too.
Would you like more? That's the real question.
I should just clarify that. I'm not a big fan of the new Star Wars movies that are coming out.
You like the original six.
Like the originals. Original 3. I'm not even really.
The first 3.
4, 5, and 6. The first 3 that came out.
He's gonna really
4,
narrow
5,
that.
and
Okay, The
6.
Empire Strikes Back, maybe the only one that.
The first 20 minutes of that was really good. And after that, kind of went down. No. So, but I probably tend to watch more thriller movies than I do sci-fi movies. So that's what I'm gonna go with.
Nice.
The thrillers.
Darn.
Sorry,
Not
boys.
cool.
Lame.
Again, sci-fi's really good. And it's underrated, obviously.
Yes,
It
y'all.
is underrated. It probably isn't underrated, but the hard thing is all of these categories, though. Used to, when you'd say sci-fi, you would think of a
Star
really
Trek.
crappy made space movie,
Early
and that's
sci-fi.
sci-fi.
Yeah.
But the lines are so blurred
You know,
nowadays
Meatball.
with every category.
Well, and to clarify,
That
we
science
own
movie.
multiple movies that go in
Oh, yeah.
every genre.
Oh,
I mean, we're not discriminating against any of these
What's on
categories
the
for
table
sure.
here? I mean,
It's
I don't think
They cross over each other, which is how movies should be.
Yeah.
They shouldn't just be just one thing by itself. They don't do well.
That's what makes a great movie
Right,
is.
right.
Having all those themes and doing it well.
yes.
All right. So,
So
the
next-
next up is war movies versus drama.
Which usually war movies have a lot of drama.
Yeah,
so
that's
that's a tough matchup.
I think I would prefer war movies because, again, drama reminds me of the same thing as psychic romance movies. But it's just the psychic romance and less of the comedy aspect. Whereas war movies, it can be a lot more gritty. You're looking at like 1917 that just came out, apparently
Yeah.
a really good movie.
Yeah. it is.
D-Day. There's another
Saving
war
Private
movie.
Ryan.
Saving Private Ryan. I watched that one.
Inglorious Bastards
Yeah.
is a good one.
What's the one
Pearl
we
Harbor's a
watched?
good one.
We were
We were
soldiers.
soldiers, yeah.
There's one, it
Black
came out a
Hawk
while
Down.
ago. It's when they're trying to get over, like, all the people come
Tank.
from across, like, the strait or whatever to help ferry soldiers out of a retreat. I can't remember what it's called,
I
but
don't know what it's called.
it was some, like, huge,
Nope.
like, historic event because, like, all these, like, just regular fishermen came and, like, were bringing boats to pull all these soldiers out because it was a loss, and so they were just trying to retreat back home, but
Yeah.
they couldn't. Anyway, that came out a couple years ago. Somebody out there knows what I'm talking about.
If you know what it is, please comment.
Here's where you get to interact with this.
In 5 weeks.
Right. But then dramas, I feel like are pretty good. Like Boy in Striped Pajamas is good.
I can always do a good cry. There's beaches up
I
here.
can always do a good cry.
One of my favorites. It's a story about two women and their relationship and
Steel Magnolias would be a drama.
Yeah.
What?
Steel
Steel
Magnolias.
Magnolias.
Yeah.
I don't think I've watched any of those movies, actually.
You've seen Steel Magnolias? They did that play. You went
Who
to
did
it.
a play?
He didn't go to the play.
We
He had to work.
I did not.
So you had to see
Drama
that
movies
one.
just bore me. Like, there's not enough. Like, I don't know. It doesn't ever capture my attention. It just is like, we're gonna sit and we're gonna talk for an hour and a half,
But
and that's all you're gonna do in the movie. There's
Yeah.
there's not anything
well,
to
drama
hook you.
movies are like the big brain, where you have to be paying attention a lot the whole way through to get the ending.
Dramas are usually based on relationships. And
Yeah.
so it's
And real
something about
events and that kind of
yeah,
stuff.
it's dialogue
Yeah.
in between people and the idiosyncrasies of relationships, and so so that's what you're going
You deal with that enough in real life. Why do I want to watch a movie about
Right.
that?
because you can learn about people.
But
through
like
that.
Shawshank
That's what I like.
Redemption,
Yeah,
that probably falls under drama in some
which
ways.
is a great movie.
The Godfather would fall under drama in some ways.
What about Tropical Thunder?
That is hilarious. And it's not a drama. Tropic Thunder is
That's
a
a war
comedy.
movie.
Or a war movie. Yeah, it is a war movie.
That's the one where Ben Stiller was the director, the writer, and
yeah.
the producer, and was the main character in that movie.
Yeah.
And Robert Downey Jr. did
Blackface,
blackface, and he was the best black actor to not be black, according to what was his
All
name,
the-
Jamie Lee Foxx, in an interview.
I own that movie because let's
It's really funny because there's a lot of big name actors in there before they were actually big name actors. Like
So
it was
that's probably
early Ben Stiller.
A cult classic as well. isn't
Yeah,
it?
probably.
It probably is at this point too.
I was looking
but-
through my movies the other day and I was like, oh, these are all such great movies. And then I was talking to somebody about all the movies I own and they're like, I've never seen it, never heard of that.
That one
I
came
don't
out
have
in
any idea what that
2008.
is. And I'm like,
but-
I'm sensing a theme.
Then again,
Like Public Enemies is one of my favorite movies
It
right
was
now.
He did Iron Man.
Nobody
and
knows
then
that movie.
shot.
It's a Johnny
Yeah,
Depp
so
movie,
it's
but nobody
right
knows
after.
it. And I'm like, oh,
And he
okay.
did blackface, and he was looking back when he said that was probably not a good idea. But I still did it because it was really funny,
And it was pretty funny.
and it worked out. But yeah, so that the war movies, they're just I wouldn't say they're more entertaining because they're all based on true stories, and it's a lot of
Some.
Sad.
times in
Would
our
Forrest
history.
Gump be a war movie, or would that be a drama?
Or that'd be
I
a
think
cult
it's a
classic.
I think it's more of a drama. So it's about his relationship and his story, and less about the war he was in.
But he was
True.
shot in the buttocks. So.
In
the war.
Lieutenant Dan.
Look, I haven't watched that movie, by the way.
You've not seen
I
that?
haven't yet to watch that movie.
I was
Spoilers.
But I
22
did
before
watch
I watched Forrest Gump,
a
so...
YouTube video that was like 55 minutes long about the story of Forrest Gump.
You might as well just watch the movie at that point.
I think Forrest Gump is shorter than that.
It was a commentary on his character and how he is the epitome of the American dream, and how he embodies the true American, and how you can still find a life even though you have all
True
those
American.
issues.
I think we tried to watch
stuff.
this movie like 5 times, and you're like, that movie's stupid. I don't want to
Forrest
watch it.
Gump?
Yeah. So
Uh,
you never watched it?
No, I never watched
Forrest-
We have it.
Forrest
Yeah,
Gump,
I know.
I watched that movie and then I think that's probably the first book that I read as an adult. I watched that movie, I was like, that was a good movie! And I immediately went and got the book.
It was Bubba Gump and Company.
Yeah,
though.
Bubba Gump
That's
and
like-
Company. And then we watched with that was a second book.
He's just listing all
Yeah,
the types
and
of
it was-
shrimp.
The second book was terrible.
I feel like I'm kind of leaning towards war movies, because like I'm thinking of like some of the war movies, and those are some of my favorite movies.
Mm.
So I feel like I'm gonna have to vote
War
that
movies.
way.
I'm going with war movies too. Just I
So we got
can't
3
get
on the
with
war
dramas.
movies.
I'm gonna do drama because I like to cry.
Yeah.
Why would you
so
watch a movie that intentionally makes you
You
sad?
just watch a movie and you just let all those emotions out. So
That's what we
Inside
watch
Out.
for.
Inside
Yeah, I
Out.
like the story of drama, so I'd say drama too.
Sorry, ladies, but I got more movies on this
War
one.
movies.
All right.
I mean, there's Inside Out is a good movie. It is a drama, but
I don't know. It's Inside Out
the
drama though.
Magnolias.
It's
It's
a drama
alright.
slash G-rated. Well, the whole your basis for dramas is it's based on
It's
relationships.
funny too.
It's all about
That's true.
Riley
Inside Riley's head.
dealing with
Yeah.
her emotions and her relationship with her parents.
Right.
I mean,
And the relationship with her emotions with each other.
yeah, I mean,
So
by your own definition, it is the truest drama.
That's true.
All right, so next is scary slash horror movies
Mm-hmm.
and
versus
sports
movies.
As I've
Why
already
did we
stated,
put religious movies on here?
Why didn't we?
Well, yeah.
Because
We
it
talked
wouldn't make
about
it through
Because we
here.
ran out of categories, man.
we thought about
We
it.
came up with holidays.
We
What would you just
considered
do?
it and then went, no.
Listen, I think WWJD and WWJD2 and WWJD3.
Is that third one?
There it is,
They
the third
did
one.
it.
Wow.
They did it.
Wow.
Let's give them a slow clap for that
One clap.
And if you haven't seen that movie,
one. Don't.
Do it.
Just
Do yourself
let
a
us
favor.
know.
It's great.
If you want to watch a bad movie, there you go. If you want to know what a bad movie
Wasn't he
is.
the guy from Dukes of Hazzard?
Yes.
The main
Yeah.
He was in Dukes of Hazzard, like
Movie
I mean,
right
come
after.
on.
And God's Not Dead.
Movie right after.
Neither of them are great.
God's Not Dead was better than What Would Jesus
Yes.
Do.
That is true.
Yes.
But
I
none of
wouldn't
them-
recommend it, but
Blindside
it's
was
better.
okay. But that's not even
Yeah,
a
that's a
category.
sports
It's not
Those could be considered horror.
The Blind Side
Oh.
is a sports
Yeah.
movie.
I thought we were talking about God's Not Dead.
It's not a sports movie.
The Blind Side is a sports movie.
Yes.
Remember the Titans is a sports,
Sports movie would be any movie
Field of
that has
Dreams.
sports in it, essentially.
Okay,
The
then,
main point
Cool
is the
Runnings.
yeah, I was gonna say that's a
Throw
sports
that one
movie.
out there. That was
What
really
about
good.
what's the one where they're all in prison and it's the comedy and
Oh, The Longest Yard?
Yeah.
With
The
Adam-
Longest Yard.
is that a sports movie?
Sandler.
Yeah, because he coaches the football team from
There you
prison.
go,
And they get their freedom by playing against an actual team.
Yeah,
It's hilarious.
it's sports movie.
And what's a scarier horror movie?
Jason.
Saw.
Friday the 13th.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
These are your slasher, cut 'em up.
Yeah, this
gory
is what I
films.
would put in that category. Yeah, or even some of the scarier thrillers like The Conjuring or the Annabelle series. Those I would
Yeah.
even consider in this category.
Would you put like Lady in the Water from
I would put that in the
Mist?
thriller
Yeah.
A thriller?
category. Yeah,
What about
because it's scary light.
what was the one he did with
The Happening?
The Happening? Yeah.
The Happening, personally, I did not find The Happening that scary. I would put it as a thriller, but I know some people do think it's scarier and will put it in a scary category.
It was a thriller.
Yeah.
I thought it was a thriller too.
I thought it was kind of dumb, but
But we watched them
we've
all.
watched it. We've seen it multiple times.
guys
We do
own that movie.
We do own it, but of his movies, I was kind of let down by it. But
It's the only movie I've ever seen on opening night.
yeah, we went and saw it opening night.
I
It was
saw
very fun watching it with everybody.
Harry Potter.
People freaked
Which one
out.
did I go and see with Jimmy?
I don't remember which one it was. Was it 4?
It was 4 or 5, but I can't remember.
I don't know.
That's the only movie I've ever seen on opening night.
Alright, so scary horror or sports? What do you think?
Miracle is another good one. Hockey.
I'm going with
Those are good.
sports.
My gosh.
But-
Yeah, because I'm not allowed to watch scary horror
Sports.
movies.
I probably shouldn't be.
I mean, I don't really care about sport. There's like 2 sports movies I care about. So I think I'm gonna have to go with the horror scary on this one. Yeah.
Okay.
The paleo one for soccer was pretty good. If you remember that. That was pretty good.
If you put down the movie Saw in front of me, or someone's home video of a kid's Pee Wee baseball team, I'm watching the Pee Wee baseball team. Because I can care less about scary movies, horror movies. I don't find them scary generally.
Doesn't get scary.
I find them ridiculous. Like, why did we waste money and a budget making this movie? And I just find them.
They can be predictable too.
There's some
Yeah.
They
good
can.
ones.
And it never works out well for him because then I get scared and then we have to stay up really late so that we
Then we
can
have to watch
more
like 2
movies.
Chaser movies.
And then I end up screaming in the middle of the night. It's just a
Dang.
bad time all the way
Yeah.
around. So it's not worth it to you.
It's not. Which is, it's crazy because that happened when when you guys were really young, and like somebody's kid would get kidnapped or something like that, and so we just didn't watch those kind of movies. And like, it's your favorite genre. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny.
she would stay up for hours to stand in line to go watch a movie at the theater right now. It just
Yeah.
makes no sense.
But also, we all had weird things we weren't allowed to watch, like Crocodile Hunter. So,
Well, you didn't watch Crocodile Hunter because you started
because I would get scared.
of crocodiles, and you would wake up and you were scared that there were crocodiles in
having
your
nightmares
room.
about
So
crocodiles,
you were like,
so
no more.
We stopped watching that show. You kept thinking they were crawling on your floor in your bed.
You're the one who ruined it for me.
Yeah.
I love that show.
I did too. She did too. And I didn't think it was bad. And then all of a sudden she started having nightmares. And I'm like, all right, no more crocodile hunter.
Steve Irwin did this to me.
Steve Irwin did this. So I'm going full on sports.
I'm gonna go sports too, because I mean, I don't like horror movies that much. I'm getting behind thrillers, but like, I don't like sports movies that much, but I like them more than scary horror movies. So,
Sports.
sports it is.
Good option.
Good option. Finally.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
we'll take those.
All right, down to the last category here.
Documentaries versus musicals.
Documentary, hands down.
Documentaries.
I mean, we don't have to talk about it.
Okay,
No,
can we
There's High School Musical.
No
And
way.
Cats does not count.
Right.
Cats counts, and that's why you should
Everybody's
vote for
okay.
The
music.
Greatest
I
Showman.
like that one.
The Greatest Showman.
Okay,
Les
I
Les Mis, everybody.
I've got problems with Les Mis. Jean Valjean's a jerk.
Or we could talk about documentaries.
You can learn something cool.
Make me like, want to watch something more, research it or something. I guess I don't know.
And are we talking about like limited series currently on Netflix where they're cut into episodes?
No.
Like Tiger
Documentaries-
King and the
No.
Gabriel
I think-
Hernandez
But here's the
trials,
thing, I feel
things
like,
like that.
I
Time
think
to bring
that
in the
should
Tiger
count.
King.
You gotta bring it in.
Because
As a
I feel like
docuseries.
movies. We are, but documentaries, I mean, you can do a documentary as just one, but I also feel like that when they break them up into the parts, I feel like it's still relevant because it's the idea of a documentary to me is they're taking this real thing and they're deep diving into it and exposing it
Yeah.
and letting you know all the information that you can get about
But being digestible.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can't fully talk about whatever in an hours long movie thing. It's got to be broke up into the parts like that.
But let's be honest. If in the time that we live right now and everything that's going on in the world, if they had made Tiger King an 8.5 hour movie, it'd still be number 1 on Netflix.
It probably would. Yeah.
You would have just watched it all day long.
I don't know.
Most people already did.
did.
Most people did watch it from
You
start
didn't have to
to
make an episode.
My
see,
only argument is
Everybody I've talked to started Tiger King on Monday morning. That was like, I'll watch an
Yeah.
episode, and they finished it
Finished it by Wednesday.
by
See, but the thing is, like, I think it's because it's broken down for you. You could go at any point. You could go, all right, I'll finish this episode, and then I can be done, and then come back to it later because I want to do other things. If you sit down, you watch a 2-hour-long documentary, it's like I'm locked in for 2 hours.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's okay, maybe I spent 2 hours watching this movie, but then I spent 5 hours watching all of Tiger King. Yes, you spent more time on Tiger King, but I think people want to watch a docu-series more than they want to watch a regular documentary because it feels like less time. Because you can break it out.
I feel
And
like
it's broken up for you
docuseries.
already.
I feel like documentaries didn't do well because they used to just be a 4-hour thing about national parks.
Right.
Yeah.
And docu-series started happening because people went, no one has 4 hours to just sit and watch this film, but they'll watch 4 45-minute episodes in a row, and so then they break it up that way. And then also you can key into the part you like, okay, I don't care about Yellowstone, so I'm not going to watch episode 1, but I'll watch episode 2. But it's the same idea of learning something more about a real-world event.
Look
Yeah.
at Planet
Or
Earth
place.
as a prime example. Planet
Yeah.
Earth, the first one, was 3.5 hours documentary.
And it didn't do
And
very
it
well.
didn't do as well as the ones where they chopped it up of just the
There's
whales,
two.
just the
Yeah.
jungle one.
And people
And
still
they
watch
chopped it
all
up.
of them, but then
Planet
they'll
Earth
watch
2.
an episode before bed
Right.
7 days in a row or something.
But we're talking about types of movies. And so I feel like if we're staying true to what our
So
bracket
then
is about, we're
There's
talking
only like
about
5 documentaries
a
you can
movie.
talk about.
No, there's lots
there's
of
lots of documentaries.
They're old.
Yeah.
And they don't stand up. They
There's
don't
only
stand
like
up
5
anymore.
of them.
I will say that a
They
lot of
don't matter.
documentaries that are an
That's
hour
the
long
problem.
or 2 hours long or whatever, they're outdated now.
I think part of the issue though is that I think that you guys fail to realize that this still is a prominent thing. It's just that your generation has changed how they do documentaries.
Which is why I'm saying you should allow
Docu-series
docu-series to count in the documentary genre.
Because they are essentially the same thing. I mean, the only ones that I can think of are the original Planet Earth. You look
Well,
at
you got the
one or
original
two
Planet
prison
Earth.
ones that are just full.
What's the
minimalism.
Super Size Me?
You got the
Super
Making
Size Me
a
1 or
Murder,
2, Making
But that's
a
a
Murder was
docu-series.
one of
That's
the
not a
first
movie.
docu-series.
Oh, okay.
You know, there are
There's a lot of
those
prison
out there.
ones that are
Food Inc. There's.
But when did those come out? You know what I mean?
Food Inc.
2009, 2010.
So
Super Size Me was, but
10, 12 years ago.
which is harder to watch now because they're out of date. They don't. That's not true anymore. Those
Right.
statistics are out of date. You can't watch it to be informational,
Mhm.
and they just aren't entertaining at that point.
Right, which, I mean,
Which is the problem.
I
with
guess if you want to
documentaries.
go technicalities, documentaries are different than docu-series, but I guess when I thought of documentaries putting it up here, I was thinking of the docu-series.
Yeah.
Because like you said,
But
that's how we
Documentaries
consume that
also
information
include
now.
anything like there's one about the space shuttle, the time bomb, Day One. There's all kinds of sports.
Yeah, I mean, a documentary can be
Documentaries.
about anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's Run Mama Run, True Size, Swole. There's 27 in this
900.
category.
There's the Super Smash Brothers documentary. That's a full thing. But
Yeah.
they also chopped it up
Jiu-Jitsu
into
versus the
series.
world.
I mean,
you know.
Boyhood is technically a documentary. I mean, there's so many different things, and I think documentaries appeal to a lot of. I don't think a lot of people recognize that they would enjoy documentaries because they're like, oh, boring, something you would watch in social studies. But
Right.
Yeah.
you can find a documentary about your favorite sports player. You can find a documentary about your favorite animal. You can find a documentary about your favorite
categories
state.
here.
I mean,
There's politics, philosophy, performing arts,
Exactly.
nature, mystery,
there's documentaries
military
about
and
everything.
war, media, history. There's one fake news about President Trump. Health, environment, economics.
So-
skills.
Musicals, though. I mean,
Those are
come
easy
on.
to define. You just
Yeah.
have to have singing the entire time.
Not saying
I think
the entire
musicals
time,
get
but
annoying.
good
Yeah.
Personal.
songs. It
It's a problem.
depends if it depends if it's a good one or a bad one.
I don't think there's.
But
a
all the ones that
distinction
you think are
between
good,
those.
I think are bad.
You either enjoy the fact that they're singing or you don't.
Okay.
Yeah. And
It doesn't
thing
matter if it's good or
about-
bad.
Close your ears, brother.
I enjoy
watching
musicals.
a movie. If I have to close my ears to the entire thing,
I will
that's
say
what
I
musicals are.
enjoy. There are a few musicals I do enjoy. I don't think I'd want to watch a musical as a movie though. Like I like it being live action right in front of me, and then it's.
But you're
It's a
watching it
little
for more of the event and the grandeur of it.
Right.
You're going there to be a part of that whole
And
thing.
the thing about it, like music in movies is fine. Like Disney always has their songs and that kind of stuff, but you wouldn't consider them a musical.
Yes, they are because there
You
are
would?
Disney movies that are musicals and there's
Yeah.
ones that aren't.
Right.
I think
okay.
the definition of a musical is you're getting exposition through singing, and more of it is singing than dialogue.
Yeah, and that's the thing
Is that
I don't.
accurate?
I think that with musicals there has to be exposition in the singing.
Okay.
But opera would take you into where
All
most of
singing.
it is.
I just, if you're singing to get your point across. I cannot focus on it. Like, it's like, there's...
You love The Greatest Showman, though.
The Greatest Showman is good. I will say there are musicals I like. But overall,
Yes.
musicals, like, I don't... Like, people who are, like, super into musicals, I don't get it. Like...
I'm definitely a top tier musical person. Like, I like Annie. I enjoyed The Greatest Showman. That's about all the musicals.
Sound of
I-
Music.
I'm top
Sound of
tier
Music,
musical
okay, yeah.
lover.
Well,
I
that's
can name two.
That's what I'm saying. Top tier. People that like musicals, they're down here. Deep cut. All these things I've never heard of. Abby, obsessed
okay.
with musicals. She
You're like
talks to
an
me about it
entry
all the time, and I'm like, never heard of that. Never seen that.
She's
Have
an
no
entry
idea.
level
Yeah.
musical
Entry
lover.
level.
Top tier, up here. Don't know any of this down here.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's just the singing and the trying to tell a story while singing, and like the songs aren't even that
It's
good
distracting,
sometimes. It's
yeah.
distracting. Like they're also dancing on
I
screen.
think it
a lot
pulls
of
you
time.
out of the story more than it helps you learn the story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's and
It's
like
such a shift.
I think I've also been ruined because like I being in acting and that stuff like that's all a lot of those kids did was just play and or sing those musical songs, except it'd be the same like 3 weird musicals that they'd listen to for a month. And it's like, I don't know any of these. And you start to listen, you haven't even seen the show, you just listen to the music. And it's like, I don't get it. I don't get the draw of musicals.
Alright, Sweeney Todd. That's another one that I like. But it's mostly about murdering people and putting them into pies. So
Goes with their scary horror.
Johnny Depp and Helena Bonham Carter.
I'm
and
voting
Tim
for
Burton.
musicals.
So, I'm voting for documentaries.
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 I was gonna vote for documentaries. I do enjoy a musical once in a
West
while.
Side Story. I mean,
It's garbage.
Probably not.
I watched it
On
one
top of
time
my
and
list.
hated it.
when you're a chicken from your
Yeah.
first singer.
Everybody makes fun of it.
Everybody did make fun of it.
That's what everybody makes fun of it for. It's not good.
I do enjoy. It's a terrible movie, and you would probably hate it if any of you watched it. But Seven Brides for Seven Brothers
It's terrible. I've
is a
seen
terrible movie.
It's not terrible.
It's-
Yes, it
but
is. It's garbage.
If I have to pick a musical to watch, that's the one I'm watching.
it. Really?
Why not Fiddler on the Roof?
I think
By
because
the rich
when
man.
Mom and I started dating, Grandma Sandy, like musicals would win this whole bracket. Like she
Jeez.
loved musicals.
Yeah, that's
They're
what
probably
And-
not even
it-
good.
And I was like,
musicals,
I was like, what are these movies? But like, Seven Brides for Seven Brothers was one of them that kind of made some sense to me and wasn't too bad. So
They're like mountain
it's like the
people.
one that
They
I
don't
latched
have any
onto.
teeth.
And
That's
hey,
fine. That's fine. We'll take it.
I mean, it's about 7 brothers who go to town and kidnap 7 women and bring them back,
And
and then
take
they
them
get
to the
caved in
mountain.
by an avalanche.
Yeah.
And by spring, all of the women fall in love and they marry the guys. I mean, it's how do you not beat that story?
How do you not beat Stockholm Syndrome? Come on, guys.
Have you never seen this movie, Boston?
You have to watch it. Mr. Rico made us watch it. I don't know.
How can you avoid the draw of Stockholm Syndrome?
Right.
Like it's just the
Beauty and the
greatest
Beast, one of the
storytelling.
best Disney movies ever.
It's just a great story point to get. Oh, I need these people to fall in love. They don't have any reason to fall in love. Stockholm Syndrome.
Gotta do some murdering, one or the other. All right, we got the first set done, guys.
Hey, good job.
All right.
Nicely done. Okay, next up.
Rom-coms versus cult classics.
Easy.
Easy.
Easy out.
Same line I've always been on. Romance has not been my thing. Drama's not been my thing. Musicals
has
fall
not
into
been
that as
your
well. Cult classics all through.
Connor.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite movie of all time is definitely a cult
Yeah.
classic. So,
But it's
yeah.
also a rom-com.
What is
But it's
that?
also action adventure. So I mean, Princess Bride.
But it's also
It's also
mystery.
a superhero.
It's also a mystery.
It's also
That's
drama.
a mystery. Well, I guess you have to find the Six-Fingered Man. So.
Yeah.
It's kind of a big
Who's the Six Finger Man? It's a big brain movie.
I don't know if it's a big break.
I don't think he ever shows hands the whole time.
They do. Literally.
Yeah, because then it's like you
full
got 6 fingers
shot.
on your right hand. Someone's looking for you. Go, knocks him out.
Because it's got the weird like leather flex, like and he like stretches his hand while like it's just in the middle of the shot. It's a great shot. Just
Okay, so we have a cult classic here.
Yep.
cult classic.
Cult
Three
classic.
cult
Cult
classics.
classic.
I'm gonna say rom-com.
Okay.
What are you gonna say?
This really hurts. This is
Really hurts.
it really hurts.
Really hurts.
Mom,
Is your number
here you
one
go,
genre?
Mom. Is West Side Story a cult classic or a rom-com?
It's a cult classic.
There you go.
Cult classic. Sorry, Boston. Did you vote?
No, I'm voting cult classics
Okay.
over rom-coms.
So it was gonna win anyway.
It was gonna win. I just want to see what you had to
I'm
say.
glad that made it really easy
But
to
it is
do.
rom-com too, though.
Less so.
They sing that whole
song
drama.
on the roof about being in love or whatever.
I don't know. I've
There's
never
at
seen
least
it.
one song.
You've never seen West Side Story?
Yeah, you asked me if I wanted to. I was like, I'm busy. I got things I gotta
You
You
do.
ever
don't
watch
like
Seven
it.
Brides and Seven
No,
Brothers?
I don't. Want to know why? Because I don't like musicals.
You
All
might.
right. So
That-
next is, oh gosh, this one's hard too.
Big Brain.
Big brain.
versus G-rated.
Big brain.
Big
Big
Brain.
brain.
G-rated. I don't have
Big
time to think about it.
Other than, like,
You're already watching the movie. Might as well be a bit more engaged. Might as well be more
I
engaged.
don't
That's
have time
what
to
pay
analyze
attention.
it after and be like, what did I miss?
That's the best
That's
part
why
about
you should
movies.
watch it again.
I'm
I
gonna
don't
go.
have time to watch it again.
I think I,
That's the
I
other
was
thing.
just-
You get value out of it. You gotta
was
go
just
back and
thinking
watch it
about
again.
Big Brain movies are
Gotta
also
learn.
one that, as soon as the movie's over, you start talking about like how all the pieces
Oh my
connect.
gosh, I hate that.
Those are like other movies. Like sometimes you do that, but like Big Brain movies are very specific. You go, we need to talk about this right now.
Quentin
So
wanted to analyze Tiger King.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of parts in
There's
there.
a lot to
too.
talk about.
there's a lot to talk about.
We might have just a one-off night where we just talk about Tiger King.
Honestly,
And
we
we
should. 'Cause I
just discuss it.
All right. I'm gonna go with Big Brain too. I'm
Brain.
like, I love G-rated stuff, but
Is that 4?
Yeah.
Yeah,
what were you
Big
gonna do?
Brain.
I don't know. I was weighing the options, so it doesn't matter now.
I have a big brain.
You're going to medical school. What do you mean?
Yeah, no.
She doesn't have any more space. Is the
Oh.
problem.
She's like, it's full. Full up.
All right. So now we got thrillers versus war movies.
Oh.
This one's a simple one for me. It's war movies because I don't like thrillers.
Because you're scared.
No. You can actually, war movies can be a lot more terrifying than thriller movies.
Right.
Because it's a lot more real.
I don't watch them.
That's the thing. And I think war movies just because they're actually kind of teaching you something.
Yeah, I don't
And
like
you're
that.
understanding more about your world and what used to happen before you were alive. So it's informational. So I'm going to go with the war movies because it's educational.
I think I'm gonna change my tune from last time. I'm gonna go with thrillers because of the two, like, yeah, war movies are cool, but thrillers, I don't know, they give me more than a war movie will, I guess. I don't know. Shh. I'm getting more into them. There's a lot more that I like.
I don't know what I'm gonna pick because I really like both of them. Is the real problem.
Thrillers and war movies.
I think I'm gonna go with thrillers. I like a good war movie, but if something's a war movie, it's not necessarily gonna be like, oh, I want to watch that because it's a war movie.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
if it's somebody's like, if it's targeted as a thriller, I'll stand up and listen a little bit more because like I enjoyed Quiet Place. I enjoyed Silence of
Make
the
a
Lambs.
second one.
So I enjoy those movies. I enjoy the intensity. I get a little bit scared, but I don't get all the way scared where I have bad dreams. So
I find sometimes with a war movie, depending on which one it is, like I feel over involved. Like I can't believe we did that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
or that maybe not we as in the U.S., but whatever two countries are bad. And like, seriously, that actually, wow, that's
Yeah.
no wonder the world took up arms against
Right.
us for doing, you know.
Yeah.
And so, it sounds very shallow, but I don't like thinking about humanity like that. I guess in some ways, you know, it's like that's too much. I mean, that people are that crazy. But again, with the thrillers, I'm not. I'm gonna have to change my vote too. I think I'm gonna go with thrillers over a war movie. Just because war movies kind of, and this sounds, war, there's only so much you can do in a war movie.
War
I mean,
never
it's-
changes.
Yeah, it's, you know, it is a lot of, you know,
You know, you
blowing
know.
stuff up and, you know, but
You know, you know.
yeah, I mean, how many times can you see body parts flying?
She said thrillers as well.
That's four.
what are you gonna do?
I really didn't know, so I'm glad I didn't have to do this. All right, sports and documentaries.
This is the
and
one I'm
This one's like the most.
Like,
They're all
I
the same.
don't like sports movies, so
Like
documentaries.
sports movies are also documentaries, and most documentaries are about sports because
A lot of
most everybody
documentaries
understands
are
sports.
Nobody understands.
No, everybody does.
Oh,
they
just
understand the
the
sport,
way
and so they want to know about this
I
specific
know.
person in sports, and less about what is the overarching, what is going on.
I'm gonna vote for sports movies because
For 2 and 2.
yeah,
I'm sports.
it gives you something to do. It's
Documentaries.
things I
It's
actually know
documentaries.
about.
Because learning.
Or
That's been my
3.
whole thing this whole time. It's
3
Thinking.
documentaries, 2
Sports.
sports.
Anything
from documentaries. I just
Really?
3
find it
documentaries, 2
interesting.
sports.
Yep. You gonna make Sam choose?
Well, see, I do like a good documentary, but I also like a good sport. So I'm going to intentionally pick sports
That's fine.
just to get Sam
Okay.
back involved.
Special
I
guest.
I really don't know which one I would pick, so I'm okay with either one going through.
Yeah, I heard.
All right,
Thank you,
sports
Sam.
movies or documentary movies?
Documentary.
Yeah.
Wow, that was good.
Okay.
Quick, good job.
easy, easy answer.
Easy and quick documentaries. Okay.
Guess I know what we're watching that next couple weeks.
Lion King or Tiger King?
Lion King.
That's a documentary based on a true story.
All right.
Monkey grabbed a lion.
Final 4.
Final
Painful.
4.
Easy.
Oh, man.
Cult
Cult
classics versus big
Big
brain.
brain.
Honestly, looking at this Final 4, I'm pleased.
You're pleased?
I'm not gonna lie.
Cult classics versus Big Brain. And
I
sports
voted
versus
for all of
documentaries.
these all the way through, which is gonna make it really painful.
It is.
But I'm happy. It's so difficult. Because cult classics, they got classic right in the name. I mean,
Right.
it's
The big
But
brain.
big
They're
brain.
gonna be around for a while.
movie.
a
People-
big brain.
People like that kind of thing. Whereas cult classics are, they happen.
But a lot of the Big Brain movies, I feel like, kind of fall into cult
They
classics
become cult
also.
classics, yeah.
Yeah.
So
They're
Like
What I'm saying is you
cult
can't make a
classics.
cult classic today. It's just called an indie movie and nobody watched it. You gotta wait 20 years. You gotta let it age first.
True.
And then it's
okay,
good.
that's true.
Whereas Big
True.
Brain, you could watch it day one and
And then
continue
know
to
it's
watch it
Big
for
Brain.
10 years. And then 10 years later, you're like, oh, that was a cult classic. Yeah, that was a great movie back in my day.
That's fair.
So
And I guess
think
big brain movies,
movies
you
just-
could every time. Well, I guess with cult classics, every time you watch it.
No, I'm good.
Well, you
I was talking, I was trying to hear what you said, but you were talking, so I waited.
but big brain movies, like every time you watch it, you get something. You can pick out a new piece out of it. Whereas cult classics, they don't lay it all out on the table. But like after like the first like 5 watches, you kind of have all the information you
The
can
point
gather
out
from
from this
it.
prime example is that one you can't just watch one time.
Or like
it just makes no
Princess Bride.
sense and it's just dumb. But you have to
Yeah.
watch them multiple
Well,
times
and
to
I think
understand.
cult classics,
Like-
it's not that you necessarily have to watch them again. It's you watched it, and
You
then if it's
want
Napoleon
to,
Dynamite,
yeah.
all of us went, "That's stupid." And then by the end of the week, we were all quoting it, and then we were like, "We should watch that again. That's
Yeah.
a pretty
Get
good
your hand.
movie." Like exactly, like you want to go back to that.
No.
It makes you happy in a way.
My argument, I guess, is I'm trying to suss out here what I want to
Yeah,
what I want to do. With Big Brain though, it's like Inception. I think is a great big brain movie.
Right.
Mhm.
But I don't necessarily just want to watch that a lot of times.
Yeah, you
Like,
gotta be in the mood for Big
I
Brain.
watched it. I watched it again. I enjoyed it. It's one we own it. I really
Right.
like it. It's one of my favorite movies. But I don't want the watchability, the over and over. Whereas I feel like the cult classic movies that I love, Princess Bride, Goonies, Juno, they're movies that I will watch. And if they were on TV, I would stop and watch it.
Right.
At least
Okay.
a part of it, and I quote it all the time. So I think I am going to vote
Okay.
for cult classic
Yeah.
in this genre, in this
Matchup.
Okay, this matchup, yes.
Mm,
I mean, I'm kind of feeling that one
Cult
too.
classics.
Yeah.
You go
BB is
Big
better than
Brain.
CC.
Comes before.
Big Brain becomes cult classics. That's all I gotta say.
Some of them do.
So that's why I'm a Big Brain, is because it just has more staying power.
I don't know. What are you thinking?
It's 3 and
I-
1.
It's,
This reminds me of the pause that tribal council went out. I was like, "So what are we doing?" Crickets. Okay.
when you ask a question, you should wait for an answer and let the person think about it and execute.
Nah, he was baiting that one out.
I'm gonna
That's the only one that's actually gonna stay in because it's funny. That's a lot. But
I don't know why I'm in these videos.
Comic relief.
Yep.
Thank
Is
you.
it?
Target.
For us.
Wow.
What do you think?
What do you
Big brain
decide?
versus
I was gonna tell you until everyone interrupted me.
Tell us faster.
I do enjoy a big brain movie the fourth or fifth time I've watched it. So I guess by definition that makes it a cult classic because I've seen it enough
that's what I'm
times.
saying.
You're right. However, if I had known Inception was going to be as complicated as it was, I would not have started watching it at like 8 o'clock at night. I would have watched it earlier today when my brain was ready for it. A good cult classic, though, you can just put it in anytime. You know all the words, so if you got to go to the bathroom, you know what you missed. You come right back and you're
Quoting it as you're leaving.
Right.
quote the lines while you're taking care of business and you're getting a snack and whatever. And you come back and you're right there. And cult classics, everybody knows. Give me some of your tots. Like they know where that movie is. But quote
It's got
lines from
interest.
You're
Inception.
killing me, Smalls. I
Yeah,
mean,
number
Just a flesh
skills,
wound.
you know, all those.
Yeah. Solid.
So I'm voting with cult classics.
Alright.
I got to.
Disappointed. I think we can officially say that you guys watch movies differently than I do.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Watch movies
Everybody else-
than you do.
I just watch it differently. But
I mean, I like analyzing a movie, but I toned way back on that because I've watched movies with people who just hate it. Because I want to talk the entire time during the movie.
Just
don't watch
If
movies
you-
with those people.
If you
That's what I'm
talk
saying.
during a movie,
Yeah, if you talk
You
during a
deserve
movie,
to have
I don't
your
care. if
movie.
Not a
it's
new movie.
Yes.
Not
the
a new
only
movie.
time it's okay to talk during a movie is when you're quoting the movie and everyone there seeing the movie has seen it at least 3 times. That's the only time it's allowed.
But I think it's okay if
Any
you're
other
going
time-
into the movie. Like, if you're going into Inception to talk about the bits and pieces of Inception.
Then pause
That's okay.
it. Then pause it.
Right. But not whenever it's the first time watching something. You don't talk during the movie.
Right.
No.
You don't look at your phone either or anything like that. But,
No.
Yeah, you.
or if it's somebody else's first time watching it, don't quote the movie while they're watching
Right.
because then that pulls them out of it and they can't get the full enjoyment out of it.
Just like we discussed with reading Harry Potter, I read the book for the book and could have cared less about the dynamics and all the overtone and all that blah 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 nonsense that people talk about.
Big brain stuff.
They were just good books.
See,
I read them like 4 times, and then all the connections started making sense.
When I talk during movies, it's not to talk about, like, that's happening in the movie.
That's
You're just
even
like,
Make up nonsense.
No,
that's even worse.
no, it's just like things I've learned about the movies and like
no one
behind
wants
the
a
scenes
fast,
stuff. And that's-
fast facts panel.
Like, oh, did you know in Tropical Thunder, Robert Downey Jr. is actually white?
Nobody wants that.
No,
That's
not
either
stuff like
before
that.
you start the movie or after you finish the
Or
no,
did
movie.
you
because I
know-
don't think about it until I see the part and I go,
Then
oh
write
yeah.
it down. Have a
Yeah.
journal.
So when everybody turns and like gives you the evil stank eye, and you're like, okay, I'm not supposed to talk. Like
No, because I whispered it right to the person next to me. If it's
That's
just
no.
How deep do you go in that? Like, do you go Mission Impossible, like Tom Cruise is jumping out of the airplane, they did 106 takes and took him 106 days to record that entire thing. And they intentionally cut out Henry
no, because I
Cavill.
pick out interesting
Because he couldn't
things
do it.
to talk about.
You don't go that deep.
Not that he tried that stuff 106 times. Nobody cares about that.
That's what I'm saying. Nobody wants a fast facts panel.
That's not a fact. That's
Keep
Who
your
cares about
facts
that
to
fact?
yourself.
it's interesting stuff.
No, okay. So, our next
Anyway.
matchup is
Guess I'm
thrillers
just hating.
versus documentaries.
Now, if we're watching a documentary and you wanted to give some fast facts, it would probably go with the movie.
Like, oh yeah,
So
Count
I'm watching
Bastian
a
did kill her
documentary,
husband.
Somebody probably
Yes,
went,
that's a
we don't
fast
know
fact.
anything about this. And I go, you're right, let's watch it and figure some stuff out.
So the next time we watch a movie, I've got some facts.
Exactly, and I could share. But no, apparently it's frowned upon.
It
And the
is.
worst thing that you could ever do to a
So
human
it
being.
sounds like Boston and I need to start watching movies together.
Yeah. I
We're not
want
gonna
to
analyze it,
movies
we're not
with
gonna
him.
watch
I don't want to hear anything.
It
It just bothers
interesting.
me because it makes me want to think more about the movie, and I'm like, I'm done with the movie. I'm over it. I have a lot of other things to do, and analyzing this in my head isn't one of them.
Dang.
It is great. Jacob and I feel like should watch movies together because we voted a lot.
Well,
of
no,
movies.
he talks through the movies.
True.
That's
You should
the only
watch movies
downside.
with no one.
Wow.
Alone
Okay.
in the dark.
You can
by
watch old
yourself.
movies together.
You could do
That's
reaction
fine.
videos. You watch a
Yeah,
movie, you
right,
react
actually.
during the whole thing, and then we could watch that after we watch the whole movie. And then we'd
Yes.
be like, oh, that's a good point, Jacob. I'm
You
glad
can
you shared that
you
with
can turn an
us.
hour and 30-minute movie into like a 3-hour video reacting to everything.
All right, so
3 1 hour
thrillers.
videos.
Or
You can make a
documentaries.
documentary of
Make
No, it's a
docu-series.
docu-series.
Make a docu-series about it.
thrillers or documentaries. This one's
Documentaries,
for me, thrillers.
learning.
Thrillers.
I like to think.
Thrillers.
I would probably pick.
I don't know because we brought up the thing about docu-series. Are they included?
Personally, yes.
It has
Personally,
to,
yes.
There has to be like a good docu-series with like a good story for me to want to watch. Like,
I want to pick thrillers because when people ask me what kind of movies do you like, I say thrillers, kind of that horror, scary genre. But when I look at what I watch on Netflix,
Hey.
I watch stand-up, true crime, and docu-series with the occasional garbage dance moms reality TV show thrown in there. So I feel like I should pick documentaries.
what's mine
I don't know.
Documentaries.
I'm saying thrillers. Quentin and I should never watch movies
No.
together because we're pretty much always the opposite. Except we
I'm
both
saying.
do enjoy the big brain.
I mean, pretty much the only movies that we probably enjoy together are Harry Potter. And
I don't
most
like
Harry
Disney
Potter
series.
movies.
Very well.
But-
So, yeah.
Guess Disney stuff then.
I mean,
Thrillers.
the Ready Player One.
Yeah,
He
we like
picked
that
that.
movie.
We don't like that movie.
That would be sci-fi.
Sci-fi.
Which
Didn't make it
there's
out
problems
front.
with.
Didn't make it very far.
Didn't make it off the starting line.
I think I'm gonna go with thrillers because I'm getting into them more and I'm enjoying them a lot more now that I'm older. So I'm gonna go with thrillers.
What did you say, Boston? Or you decided?
The three of us haven't decided. We've got
Okay, I
two
thought you
thrillers and a
picked
documentary, and
two
Boston and I are
thrillers.
stuck over here of what we want to do.
Well, I'm gonna go with the documentary on this one because
Great.
the thrillers border on that scary big brain.
I think documentaries are more big brain than thrillers.
Documentaries like you have too much
You have
big
to
brain and you
figure it
have to
out.
talk during the movie, so you make your own.
I don't watch pretty much anything that isn't already figured out. You know what I mean?
So what'd you pick?
Well, I mean, I'm just arguing that documentaries are not big brain.
Not necessarily. They kind of just give you everything. You don't have to really
Yeah.
think
They make
about
your
it.
brain bigger.
I mean, there's small pieces
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
with water
Like, I don't watch any unsolved
You're
anything.
missing something.
Unsolved.
I don't know. I think I'm gonna go documentaries. So 3 documentaries, 2 thrillers.
Documentaries.
Oh goodness.
Your choice.
You could make it a
Tie or
tie
win
as
it.
Sam picked.
I would say documentaries.
Yeah.
Minute.
Garbage.
That's kind of what I ended up
The
going
Aaron
with.
Hernandez, the Gabriel Fernandez, maybe
Cheer. Is that what it's called?
Cheer.
Yeah.
That wasn't the one we watched.
All right, final 2. Cult classics or documentaries?
Cult classics
Easy
versus
peasy.
documentaries.
What is it?
Easy.
Easy, says everybody.
Cult classics, dude.
Got 2 for cult
I
classics.
watch
right
over
after
and
me.
over. Documentaries I couldn't watch over and over.
Documentaries I will watch over and over.
I think I would watch documentaries.
I will watch those
maybe
over and over.
sometime.
I mean, I
Maybe
watch
at
every
some
movie over and over.
You're gonna watch.
regardless.
You're gonna watch Tiger King again.
Yeah, I'll watch Tiger King again.
No.
Why not?
Veto that
He
idea.
watched half of it because he watched it all without
Yeah,
me.
I
We
watched
started
the
it
first 2
together.
episodes together, and I finished it, and then we watched the rest of them with her. So I
Yeah.
watched it already twice.
He's like, you haven't finished this? I'm like, no, I
It was 2 days
lied.
But yes, I like documentaries.
Some
more
of us
than I
at
like
this
cult
table actually
classics.
work every day.
That's what I was gonna say.
I did it overnight. I did it overnight. Yeah, it's fine.
Again. Some of us have to sleep because we have to work next day.
No big deal. I had the week off. What are you talking about? I'm allowed to do that.
Got all kinds of time.
Okay, so
He watched it all night and he still got paid the next day.
Yeah.
So there you go.
3 for cult classic and 1 documentary.
It's documentary.
I mean,
You're saying documentary?
Yes, I'm saying documentary. I don't learn as much from a cult classic. That's what I go to movies
yeah,
for.
I'm really conflicted because like,
Learning?
Is
Read
I like.
a book.
I do. I read tons of books, but movies are another way to consume for learning.
That should not be our whole life. Entertainment.
Not be
you
your
need
whole
It
to
is
learn.
entertainment, but that's how I am entertained, is by learning. By understanding things. Not by just sitting there passively like, oh, that was funny. Look at that, he fell in a hole.
look at that, you fell in a hole.
Oh, look out, Lassie. That kind of thing. That's just not enjoyable. There's nothing there. There's no substance.
I think Lassie
Yes,
fell
it
out.
is. It's
Lassie does the
entertainment.
same.
Lassie-
Where the red fern grows. They made a movie about that.
That's the
Marley and
saddest
me.
dog movie you could
I'm
reference.
just saying, it's not good.
It's
You don't get anything out of that. It's like, wow, that was kind of
Sadness.
sad. That's the point of that. You're trying to be entertained.
Entertainment.
Who wants to do that? Who wants to be entertained by crying? That's what I was
That
doing.
could inspire you to get a dog.
I already have
Why?
to
Because then you know it's gonna die. That's the
You're
worst.
gonna live it.
Everything's gonna
It's
die.
even worse. It's even worse.
You know
Yes,
that's
but I
what
like to
big
live in
brain
ignorance,
thing.
ignorance sometimes.
So probably everybody's gonna go cult classic, which I
Yeah.
understand. But just saying,
That makes
documentaries are 100% underrated.
Yeah.
More than sci-fi
I mean,
is, I think. But
I'm kind of leaning towards cult classic.
Documentaries are 100% underrated, and I do enjoy a solid documentary.
so be on my side, even though we already lost.
I am on your side.
That kind of makes me want to pick documentaries. Like, Sam.
You're gonna give Sam the winning decision.
No, you're right.
You're gonna make her come out here and make that decision. She'll hate you forever.
Good,
I
maybe.
think she would, as fast as she said documentaries,
Yeah.
I think that's
She
what
would have chosen
pick.
again.
Well, what does that mean?
Sports.
Cult classics.
No, earlier when she
Yeah.
picked it.
Sports and
I think
thrillers
it's sports.
both.
Cult
So-
classics are. That's a good winner.
It is.
I'm okay with that.
Cult classics.
I would have been okay with any of the Final Four winning, to be honest.
Documentaries would be the only one I would be like, come on.
Oh, not all
Not
of the
winning.
Final Four.
You didn't like Big Brain. You
No.
didn't really like documentaries that much. But
So.
I do like documentaries, I like docu-series,
Right.
but has to be a good one.
like about child abuse or a rapist.
Called
No,
out.
Rapist.
Yeah, isn't that what he was?
Oh, no,
Ted
Bundy.
Bundy.
Oh, he just,
I have
He was
watched
a
the
serial
Ted Bundy
that's all
one.
he did. Okay, so
Did the
No,
murderer.
Aaron Hernandez was like
Hernandez.
he was a sports player. He's a football player,
He did the sports ball.
and he killed like a bunch of people because he had that brain problem from
Mhm,
getting
from-
hit too
yeah.
many times. Yeah.
We watched, what was that drama
That Will
we
Smith
watched
movie?
about that? No, it was other black people.
Black Panther. I don't
Because
know.
that part.
I think it's a confession as the movie I'm
Do you remember
Will
what
Smith.
I watched it here with you guys, and you're like, let's watch this movie. And it was about that black doctor who was studying football players who had that condition.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that was Will Smith. Was it?
Yeah, it was Concussion. It was
Oh,
Will
I
Smith.
thought it was a black guy.
No,
Yeah.
it was Will Smith. It was another Will Smith movie.
I always watch her Will Smith movies.
Johnny Depp and Will Smith, that's who she likes, so.
I didn't even know I liked Will Smith until I started talking about this.
All right. So your favorite cult classic movie?
Princess Bride.
Princess.
What?
Princess Bride.
Okay, there you go.
Oh gosh.
I gotta pick one.
Probably Ferris Bueller's Day Off. That's a really good
That's a
one.
good one.
That one or War Games. War Games is a very good one. That is also with Matthew Broderick. This is an earlier
Right.
movie.
Yeah.
That's
And
a big
it's
brain.
a big brain one where he's got to stop nukes from launching.
Oh,
and
isn't
makes
it one where he plays
interacts
chess?
with AI, and he plays chess against a computer.
Okay.
War Games,
Why?
which is also Scott Ryan's favorite movie, by the way. In case anybody wondered.
Shout out to Scott Ryan. Okay, give me some.
I don't know.
What's yours?
I need some help.
I don't know.
I haven't
Maybe
seen
something I
that.
think I
No,
know.
it can't be your favorite if you haven't seen it.
I watched Goonies.
I just think it'd be
You watched
weird.
Stand By Me.
What would be good?
Pulp
My
Fiction.
Girl.
I haven't seen
Pulp
that.
Fiction, you've never seen-
I own
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction. Come over and borrow
Pulp
it.
Fiction.
I don't
I've
think
never
Pulp
watched
Fiction's that good,
Fight
but you might like it.
It's not my favorite Tarantino movie, but it's pretty okay.
Just from what I've seen, it looks. I think I'd enjoy it.
There's not a lot of, like, there's plot, but it's kind of like, what?
Yeah. I watched everything
Kill Bill
Broadway,
is better.
and so that's
Oh.
good. They're like it's really weird, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
I think probably, probably The Goonies is probably.
Goonies is probably your one. Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
I think the one that I,
Monty Python.
yeah, the one I,
Python's pretty good too.
I said the one I put the most, Monty Python's probably pretty good too. That's probably what I was Monty Python and the Holy Grail, the first one. Do you guys like that movie?
Yes.
Have you
Yeah.
seen it?
I watched
It's
both
a
of them.
great movie.
It's
the first
Holy
one's
Grail.
way better
so
than the
dumb.
second
It's
one.
funny. It's like
Life of Adam or whatever.
yeah, Life of Brian.
Life of Brian, yeah.
Bill
I
and Ted's
haven't
Excellent
seen it.
Adventures.
I'll
a
watch
lot.
it.
Yeah, Bill and Ted's Most Excellent
But,
Adventure. That's a good one.
yeah, I was the Napoleon Dynamite or Monty Python, but I think we'll go with Monty Python.
Cult classic humor.
My favorite
is
cult
what
classic.
my
Yeah.
go-tos are.
So if it has to be something you've watched, probably
Yes.
Princess Bride or The Goonies. But I want to watch Pulp Fiction because it looks really good.
Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump.
Forrest
I
Gump.
watch
Gump.
that every day.
Yeah,
Never
that's-
get bored.
Alright. So
We
leave
did
us a, drop us a comment and tell us
Yeah.
what your favorite cult
Maybe
classic
maybe
movie
there'll be a
is.
new movie that we
Yeah,
haven't seen
and
yet.
maybe we can watch it. And
Probably have seen it though. Somebody at this table
Between
probably
the
seen
6 of us.
I don't know. If it's obscure, probably not. Or
If it's
I
a
mean,
foreign
have to
film,
be
definitely
really
not.
obscure.
yeah, if it's, we're not into foreign.
Wes Anderson films are good though.
Who?
Grand Budapest Hotel, Isle of Dogs, Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Ridiculous.
It was a
Oh,
good
Life
movie.
of Pi. That was a really
Life
good
of
movie.
Pi?
True Life of Walter Mitty was also another good one. I
like
wouldn't
that.
consider
Very
it a cult
cinematic
classic.
You used to
movies.
say that was your
Not
favorite
yet.
movie whenever we.
I think they're
Still
too
really
new.
good. Yeah, they're
You
just
gotta
indie
get-
right now.
Yeah, you gotta get 25.
Ben
30.
Stiller does a lot of those movies, though, to be fair.
a lot of Ben Stiller is a
He's kinda
cult
quirky.
classic. Yeah, he's gonna.
Secondhand Lions is probably a cult classic.
Scott Pilgrim
Nobody's
Saves the
ever heard
World.
of.
Has anybody
That's a
seen that one?
fantastic movie. What?
Scott Pilgrim Saves the World.
That's a good one.
Scott Pilgrim.
That one's
It's
actually
Michael
pretty
Cera.
big in the gaming community and a lot of
It's a
online
really good
people.
one.
That's a really big movie.
That's interesting.
I've yet to watch it, but it's
You should watch it. It's good.
I think you might like it. It's just goofy.
I'm kind of surprised Secondhand Lions hasn't made a comeback on Netflix with
Secondhand Lines is so
Tiger
good.
King.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Being
it
number
should.
one, people are.
I
People
know.
gotta find that
Accidentally.
one. They gotta find it.
It's a good one.
It's
It's a
really
good
good. I forget about that one a lot, but it's really good.
Adventures with Babysitter or whatever.
Yeah, Adventures in
Adventures in
Babysitting.
Yeah, that's another
Yeah, that's a good one.
a random one. But we got a lot of those movies. like, I'm just like thinking of our
16
wall.
Candles, a lot of those.
Breakfast
Ferris
Club.
Bueller's Day Off. Yeah, Breakfast Club. That's a good one.
Well, it's a lot of movies that you guys watched when you were younger.
Well,
that
because
you
it's
really
been
liked.
20 years
Yeah.
since the 80s happened, so they're all
Right,
coming
but-
back. Well, it's been 40 years since
Yeah,
the 80s
40.
happened. Holy crap.
Holy crap.
I wasn't even alive in the 80s, and that made me feel old. Oof. Yikes.
Okay.
So, what's the next bracket?
Types of drinks.
Types of
Types
drinks.
of drinks. All right.
All
And
right.
Boston will probably be returning for that one as well.
All right.
All right.
Very
Everything
nice.
works out with schedules. Because that's the one you originally wanted to do.
Yeah.
You said also.
Well, thanks for coming tonight, Boston.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for the special guest.
All
Thanks for
right.
the special guest, Sam.
Yeah.
Thanks for that extra special guest, Sam.
We're the woman behind the curtain.
Come take your class.
Take your class.
All right.
All right.
Well,
See you guys.
this is the outro.
Bye.
Hey,
Thanks
see
for
ya.
watching.